Hello everyone, and welcome back to Eric Taylor's. I know many of you enjoy listening to these videos as you fall asleep, so before you drift off, leave a comment letting me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. When the night descends and darkness swallows everything, terror awakens once more. After the ritual, it was supposed to be over. The spirit was banished, the house returned to silence, and those involved were back to their normal lives. But that was nothing more than an illusion. Days later, strange occurrences began haunting those who had taken part in the exorcism. Whispering voices, shifting shadows, an unexplainable phenomenon, almost as if the spirit had never truly left, lurking somewhere, waiting for something. Was it really the spirit that was exorcised? Or was something far more sinister watching from beyond the veil, waiting for its turn? Listen carefully, you might just hear it, right behind you. Old days. In the years before the famine hit, in the north, it was so difficult and painful that until now, when people repeat with their school sobbing, the direct cause of these tragedies, it's a devastating war. And of course, it's not just in the north. It's also affected a lot in the south. In this place, a poor, remote land, it is now part of Dong That province. That day it was called the forest. It has such a name. It's because of this land, mainly forest and Quang land. It takes a few hundred yards to see it. Some old single-leaf houses. It seemed like just a thunderstorm swept through. It will save everything. Life is expensive day by day, with just a few snails watching sow wrapped with tapioca. Rice hair seems to be a luxury, and extremely rare. Although the poor life is miserable, but the village love, soon to be on this land. They shared their food piece by piece. In a flooded forest along a small canal. From here to the market, it's got to be a 5-kilometer road. Every day I dream of walking on this road. Bring the big fish, the delicious snails, to sell over the day. This market is actually a more densely populated area. People gather together to group the marketplace. Exchange of goods. From grandmother's house to just go straight on the trail about 5 kilometers. And then through a little boat. Go another 100 yards. The market is right in front of you. People in the neighborhood bury ladies too, because the woman is almost 60. Always live with your grandmother. To her house in the forest. Usually when someone walks by, they come in and say hello. In a simple old leafy house. But there are always some packs available. That she picked in the forest and dried. Then the pillow is there, in case your neighbors are sick. She bore 3 children. They are the real ones in turn. Almost 30 years ago, but still not married. When someone asked, he laughed and said, "Stay there, Asian, to help a granny BDSM to heaven." I live up to the name my mother gave me. Gentle and honest. Diligent and hospitable. The complete opposite of BA. Her second son is 3 years younger than her brother. But he's been eating and drinking all day. With friends in the market. There were times when she was selling fish in the market. Meet the city. Instead of running back, his mother asked, "I have no money to give it to you in the morning." She understood my nature, so she said again, "New mom sold out. No one bought it, so there's no money. I drink all the time now. Give me a hand with you two now." Blood is available in you. Make the mind of the city think nothing. Be much. It bullies her back. Whatever I do, I don't need you to worry. When he finished, he tossed the fish basket in front of him. Then the tunnel goes away. Left behind are sad eyes. The sadness of the old mother. And the wagging heads of people around you. I'm talking about your youngest daughter, who lies limp dim in the house. And that's why for today, nearly 20 girls in the neighborhood gathered here. This year's girl just turned 24. Just like you two. Cute girl, gentle. Still not married. For wanting a stupid sidekick for my mom and me too. Maybe it's because of these two children that it's comforting. It's a great way to wake up after the loss. Her two husbands were killed on the battlefield. On another sunny day of the previous 3 meals, let's go pick vegetables. I was on my way home when I encountered the scorching sun. So she felt dizzy and tired. Looked around and decided to go back to the big bamboo bush. The way the road goes, 20 feet to sit tired. This road has been used too many times. I'm familiar with that bamboo dust. But you never came. The bamboo bush is very large, approximately 8 to 9 adults. Stand with open arms to embrace. Its shade covers a large swath of land. In the middle of a silent, sunny afternoon, the surrounding air was scorched by the Chong sun. Back to dry. The enemy seems to be looking for a hiding place. I held the hat for a while. Then suddenly the wind blew into the bamboo. BA into each other screaming. Bamboo meets dog. It's normal to make a sound like that. But this time she suddenly felt strange. I heard the AI in my head growling furiously. In curiosity, she slowly looked back. Then you're crazy. When it's right in the middle of the bamboo bush, there's an AI face that's so white, so grim, are gritting their teeth staring at you. She screamed, "Get out of there for a second." Then suddenly, that face disappeared. Hold on, I quickly looked at you. I still don't see anything. I think in my stomach I must be sunstroke. So it's an illusion. To confirm for that, I looked closely at the bamboo. Nothing happened. For a while, she continued to sit under the bamboo canopy and rest. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Take the conical hat and continue to fan, to ward off the heat of summer noon. Then suddenly your body fluttered. When it feels right behind you, it's like having a cold AI hand stroking along her spine. She startled and forced her back. Strangely, there's no one. But the chills are still there. I can't help but remember what the devil is doing. That people talk about in this poor, remote part of the world. The things you see ghosts. Frequent cowardice occurs. The dog is really scared right now. Remember what your mother used to teach you. Somewhere strange that I want to stay or rest. To whisper a plea. I hope you can hide from me. The yin or the yang are the same. It's not convenient. Remember what your mother told you, along with the strange things that just happened. The fear is getting more and more afraid. Because in the eyes of the young girl now, you are alone in this lonely space. She whispered in her mouth, "Please keep your grandparents away from you here." I was tired, so I went in. I hope you will forgive me. I'm sorry to you. Suddenly from somewhere in space, an hour does not come. Straight into the young girl's eardrum. You can't calm down anymore. Running in panic. Then run and tie your head to the road. There's nothing in your head right now. Just know you have to run. Run fast to get out of this haunted place. You use as much as you can. Run a straight distance of 2 kilometers. A circuit back home. Leave it behind in the dust. The shadow of a black man. I looked at the girl's shadow, but laughed at the savage laughter. The two women are sitting in front of the house. Suddenly I saw my daughter running away, straight to the hammock in front of the door, but lying panting. There's something wrong with the spirit, because her daughter's nature she understood. Everywhere he goes slowly. Why is there such a strange attitude today? She approached anxiously to ask, "What's wrong with running like a ghost?" I just heard my mom ask. The girl burst into tears and recounted the incident. You often dream of hearing it. It's also dark and you're blind. It's not because you're afraid of ghosts. You're afraid for your daughter. And live to this age. Someone who has lived more than half his life in a cold, desolate, poor land, in a most turbulent phase of politeness. She's left because of the devil. She tried to hold herself back to reassure me. That's all right. It's okay to run home. Take a break now. Get well. Then go to the altar and burn incense. Pray for him to come back. Let me get something out there and apologize to people. Hey, don't go over there and pick vegetables later. I feel calmer now. She sighed for an hour and stood up. She walked towards his altar, to her husband Joan, burning incense stick and speaking in a low voice. Sir, he lives in the sacred. Bless his youngest son. He's out of luck. Let B.A. look at her youngest daughter. Lim Dim is tired. She said, I miss you a little more. If you are tired, burn incense for B.A. now. I'm leaving for a while. You're welcome. Don't worry. She went into the house to get some rice salt, some cake with 3 incense sticks in the basket. Steal the conical hats and go straight to the 2 boys' rooms. And tell the story to the older son and tell him. Take a look at the fence and go inside. It just happened. It's at my house. I'm not sure. I know, Mom. I'm going to put it in there, too. Mom, let me ask you to come home with me. Then you and your mom go out there and see what happens. All right, I can go. Go to the house with your brother. But he still has his job. thanks to people who bother you. Then she turned her back to the wall, towards that bamboo bush. You knew this big bamboo bush a day ago. The time she passed by, the spirit told her that there's something very dark about it. It's cold here. It made her unable to get close. I can't believe those fears today. It happened to your youngest daughter by accident. So force yourself to go there. As long as you're a friend of mine. The house is about a few hundred yards from the dream house. The Min family also raised ducks. The duck farm is not far from too. So every time I bring you rice too. Usually playing with men. Two girls of the same age are good at being good, as well as being quiet and having little contact with AI. So they're both very compatible and very close. It's for PM. But right in this month, it was still as hot as new. Though it is. But she dreams. I can't feel any heat right now. That her whole body felt chills. When the side opposite her, it's an old bamboo bush. Bamboo grows a lot and chun encroaches. It makes it hard for people to see. There's a light inside. She understood that actually this bamboo dust is not okay. It exudes a kind of hauntiness. But for the girl's sake, she's forced to face it. She told me to do it sincerely. Plead that they'll approve your daughter's release. She slowly arranged the offerings, burned 3 incense sticks, and sincerely kneeled down to make a vow. I bow down to you who live here. Your daughter, she accidentally violated your residence. I will bring a little gift for you today to forgive your sins. I hope you love to ignore Cho. Completed. She gently plugs BA incense in front of the altar. Put your hands in front of the city. After a while, I saw nothing special. She made a sincere vow again. Then stepped back slowly. Come on. In her heart for a moment to feel secure. Because they accepted the plea. And let go of your daughter. The woman's small figure crept over the levee, leaving behind the tall trees, where the devil bamboo dusk here. The burning incense sticks suddenly died out. The offerings are scattered everywhere. It's like being kicked by that AI. And then there's a very violent roar. And then there was a loud laugh. It's disgusting right inside that dark veil. Mrs. To arrived home at about 6 p.m. At this point, her face was fresh again. Two of them are actually going down to the kitchen holding wood. I just saw you. He hurriedly put the bundle of wood, hurriedly ran back to ask. My sister's mom has a hip. Well, there's no sow. I gave it to people. I'm so glad. Later. Don't go out there and pick beetle nuts. If anyone hired me now, I wouldn't even dare go out. I can see my daughter talking like that. You two are very safe. Then she looked in the kitchen and asked, who's in the kitchen too? Tears in my eyes. He's in the duck coop, and he can't see you. So let's go home and see. I've told you the story of a... That's why I said stay. Talk to the youngest, ready to catch that pot of rice. God, its translation is looking at you. I saw it, and I told you BA. I asked my father to see the translation. When it's okay, I'll be there for you. Yeah. Please bring the rice to your father. But you eat it in here, and who cooks for him? Mom, don't worry. Maybe the future old man's wife doesn't know why. The middle of the bridge. Just in time to come up from the kitchen. To hear your friend's words. I turned to look at you two. My cheeks are rosy right now. You two can see that. After hours of anxiety and fear, there was a little happiness in her heart. She rejoices in her belly for her son, waiting for that day to pass peacefully. Nothing happened. But now I have stopped being afraid and talk to people as usual. Even so, Mrs. Two is not really comfortable. So that night she slept without Hein. In the morning, she did not sell as usual. She stays at home with her daughter. Everything's fine, nothing more. So Mrs. To really believed that it was over. The guy who accepted the apology and ignore for your daughter. Tuesday is the same as every day. She went out to the back of the house to catch the fish that were still large the day before, to take to the market to sell. When you're ready, turn around. Mom, go sell it. At home, take care of the water for the real guy. I know, Mom. Mom, See if you can call him back. I haven't been there all week. Mention her city. Her heart is suddenly rippled with an infinite sadness. Her younger son is often at home. If you come back, you are drunk. A few coins and then they go away. Let Mrs. Germany advise you. She answered her daughter in a very sad voice. Let me see you and call him back. Hungry, she carried a basket of fish to the market. Look at the thin shadow, along with my mother's gray hair, fade away in the distance. And I love you so much. The days of drought and the scorching sun of Chang above. Everything around you is dry. The trees are covered in dust. Make the bright green no more. Mrs. goes one way to the dock of his self-interest, to cross the market. As soon as I saw her from a distance, he pulled up the boat and said aloud, "A few days ago I saw you sell. I thought you were sick. I plan to visit you this afternoon. It's so good to see you now. How are you too? My stomach is fine, because the kids have something. So take a break from some of that. It's fine now, so I'm going to resell it. Just finished." She pulled down the old conical hat she was wearing on her head. I asked the kids what they had to do. Then he suddenly stopped. "Your face is dark." He stood there worshiping for a long time. "Why don't you take the boat out?" Suddenly I look so serious. "What's going on?" "Well, there's nothing. Let's get down in the boat." I took it to the market. "Your self-interest seems strange, but I'm in a hurry for the fish in the basket. It's been open for days now, afraid it'll die." So she didn't think any more? I can see your brother's tanned oars. Slow down. A slow and quiet sound on the river. This river is not very wide. The water is calm. Reflect the human shadows on the small boat. Everything is as usual. There is only one strange thing. That's the self-interest. As opposed to the usual 8-day routine. Today he suddenly bowed his face with a stick. For a long time I looked at her to dreams, with strange anxious eyes. The self-interest capital is not this user. Previously he was in a Jiangsu dock, but due to the constant war of the world, and some other reasons, that the buffalo drifted here. The carry-on bag is just a dinghy. And she's sitting here. He built a little hut by the river. Day-by-day boat taking guests across the island. But he never took money from his relatives. Many people also feel guilty that they paid him back. But he was determined not to just laugh. All right. Fish in this water. Don't worry about anything that doesn't have food. Maybe it's because of that kindness. People in the area also love it. In which she often dreams. Every time I go to the market, she used to bring him some cake. Or the catfish snake head. When the wild vegetables she picked. That's what rural neighborhoods are like. Don't let each other eat. No dust. And there are never times. Bite your teeth every minute. The small bow pairs with the market. He hesitated to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. If there's anything wrong with you, I'll listen to you. Tell me what happened to you two. It's no stranger that you're so shy. You're welcome. The thing is that I saw it on your forehead. It's a dark one. It's a sign of something bad. You two, have you seen anything strange? The two dreams were not surprising to the sudden question of the private, because he had already told her that. You know a little bit about spirituality. Once upon a time, he had the privilege of meeting a teacher. Teach him something about the invisible underworld. And she's also encountered strange things. These days. Before that, I used to think that if it was she's still not okay. She was going to come here and ask him to help her. So she hurriedly told the whole story of the past few days. Let the driver be gentle when listening. Oh yeah. If you have already apologized, it shouldn't have happened. But I see your mood. It's surrounded by gas. From the time you got there until now. 2 or 3 meals. But now it's also following me. Then this anger is heavy. Listen to you two. You two are starting to see about now. The middle woman's voice asked, why are you private? Oh my God, I see it's back to normal. But now I'm worried about you. He thought for a moment and then spoke. Uh, Probably not. Don't worry. Just to be sure. Come back in the afternoon. I will go with you to see this out. Then I found out. Thank you very much for having you, I am sure. At noon, you can sell it. In the afternoon, follow me home. So I'm going to listen to you. It's more than 11 o'clock in the afternoon. There are 10 fish in her basket. So far I've only sold it to the people. Sold today is every day. But there's something strange in her stomach. It just keeps getting hot and it feels so insecure. It's like something scary is about to happen to you. Along with that were his concerns earlier. It makes you uneasy. It's in my mind. Then she suddenly heard a voice, echoing from somewhere. Mom, it's noon. Mom, go home. Don't sell. Mom, come home. It's your voice. This tone of voice. The voice she had always secretly desired. You will hear it even once. This tone of voice. It's not like your drunk son at all. So you need to look closely. That's it. A sudden surge of enthusiasm. Make her fresher again. After all the worries. Con, where are you going without coming home all week? That kid reminds you so much. He told me to look for you too much. Mrs. had just finished. Then suddenly she was startled. When you see the face of the city, not seen in over a week, but it's as green as a leaf boat. She hurriedly asked, "You are sick, my pale face." Go home, Mom. Cook some rice, feed me, and take some medicine. 3 people stood there looking at her. Straw and tears I try to show. Mom, come on, Mom, I can't get back yet. When it's over, I'll be back. Back to my house. I always listen to my mother. Why don't you come back now with me? I didn't finish my sentence and suddenly cut her off. Mom, if you have anything to say to me, I'll go home now. Hurry up. I promise I'll get back to you. Listen to Mom. When you're done, Turn your back quickly. It lost its form behind the alley. He left behind his mother's voice calling out to Theo. You to feel strange in your heart. But she's glad he promised he'll come home. But then suddenly she thought and wondered. Why did he call you home in such a hurry? Something or something. There are worries in my heart right now. Come back in a minute. It made her decide to pack up and come back. Right at that moment. Then he hurriedly ran to her and said, Come home quickly. Come with me too. Hurry up and I'll get you back in time. What's wrong, Private? I just said go home quickly. Both of you hurried back down to the dock. To the island. He died with a worried face. Rarely seen on his usual happy face. He said, In the morning, I saw your face. So I clicked the fortune teller. Then I really feel like something shouldn't have happened. I have no peace of mind. But at that time, I don't know exactly what it is. I was waiting for you to sell it. Then follow me carefully. But it was about 11 o'clock. Oh. He suddenly hesitated, and his eyes went back and forth. But I want to hide something. What else do you see? I'm in a hurry. To M. I know it's not good for the youngest. That's why I hurriedly rode through the sword market. Now there's a reason why I know. Then let me tell you later. Let's worry about the baby first. I had just finished cooking the rice. Lying in a hammock thinking about it. I want to see my wife bring me rice. Let's talk about playing. I just thought of my good friend. Then suddenly you see men. I'm standing outside the fence looking straight at you. It's fun to come out here and play. Surprised to sit down and answer. Why did this girl come in here? What is it like to come to my house? The meal is out there today. Just said. You just thought stomach. Maybe this girl is trying to make fun of me. So he's still sitting there and he doesn't come out. Come with me. It's fun. Even though it feels strange. but I don't know the motivation. Pushing him to stand up. Step outside the swallows. Then she accidentally stumbled on the hammock and fell a whore. The sudden pain made the girl lie still. Can't stand up. You don't seem to care when you fall. It keeps pushing. Hurry, Father. Hurry up. Even though it still hurts. But she still managed to get up and go to her friend. Then what do you regret today you are strange to hear? Not finished yet. Then suddenly the men turned around. Go straight to the levee. She tried to run. Theo just ran. This little girl is waiting. Me with. But then the men didn't have any reaction. It goes straight ahead. Try to run to catch up with your friend. But what's strange is the distance between the two of you. That was about 4 years ago. And the small shadow thong dong. Slowly moved forward like that. She couldn't catch up. Until a while later, the mouse suddenly stopped. My ears are tired right now. Because I have to run a long way. Then he ran back and grabbed a few men to ask the truth. Why is it behaving so strangely today? Suddenly, the mouse slowly turned around. Oh my God. That face is not a mouse. It's covered in blood, with white eyes looking towards her. You've reached the number. Turn the person falling backwards. She fainted in the laughter of the guests, full of disgust. The two of you are hot as a fire. You've just had a strange sting. It's like something really bad just happened. Her feet were walking like running. Between the fence. Then she suddenly panicked. You see a lot of noisy neighbors in the house. To rush inside. You're paying attention right now. I saw you carrying a black bag. I don't know what it contains. But now she has no will. Just wondering more. More than 10 of her neighbors looked at her anxiously. Slowly give way to her. She was going to ask what happened. Suddenly, there was a loud scream. It comes from the bottom of the back house. Let me out, let me out. I can get out. I'll break your throats. And then there was a horrible, cold laugh. The Kier voice. There's a little bit of your voice. The rest, it seems to be overwhelmed by the voice of that AI. It's horrible. Just arrived. A horrifying sight. The pain is right in front of you. It almost made you to fall down. To your daughter. It's lying on the back of the horse's forehead. It's screaming. To reduce sentences. It's struggling to hold onto its arms. At the bottom of the foot, being held tight by two young neighbors. The private saw that. Take out of your pocket a jar of water, and then repeatedly flaps it on the face of a Kuang. What's wrong with that? I'm flying it. That's all you can ask in a frenzy. Or maybe she understood something. What's going on with your daughter? The two of them were sweating and holding the arm of a Kuang. I just panted. I don't know, Mom. I'm outside translating. I saw the guy running by and he told me to hurry. Hurry back to the bamboo bush to save the youngest. I think it's too wobbly. You're running too. Then I saw my son lying there and passed out. I carry it back so that it will look like this. I'm trying to borrow that. Then it just kind of pops up and smashes stuff. It's bad for you with it. So the village came up to the people. Fortunately, some of them are taking a lunch break. That's why I ran into it to keep it. She was shocked when she heard it. I'm sure something happened to your daughter. But you wonder. That's why he knew to run to tell you. I'll give you two of them. And he didn't save himself. Suddenly he picked it up violently. Cut through her thoughts. He died after splashing Kier water on the face of Ucka. And then my mouth just cracked open to something. He just reached into his pocket and pulled out a yellow talisman. It's easy up there to close the zigzag. He took the small glass he had just flapped on his face. Then burned the spell in the glass. He gave me two and said, "You try to open his mouth. Pour this water in, let it drink. Be careful." He bit off that hand. To very quickly do as you are told. The letter continues in his mouth. About 10 minutes later. Then suddenly there was a violent shock. Let fade away in front of the surprised eyes of relatives. Sheeta worried asked, "Oh my God, what is his youngest son?" "It's okay, sister. I was lucky to be back in time. Not that it calmed my soul. Mrs. can't hold back her tears now. She just cried and said, "Thanks to your little brother, he's gone." No, not this one. I just photographed his ghost. It's not like that anymore. It's a new demon. I just kicked him out of his body. But also to treat that root, I have to get out of that bamboo bush now. Look at the situation. Oh my God, thanks to you. You helped my family with your own. What's wrong, sister? It's good. Now, I'd like you to follow me to that bamboo bush. You can stay here next to your mother. Close all the doors. When I wasn't there, no matter what anyone says or says, you can't go out and listen. I know, Uncle. He chose the young people next door. Is multiplying and advancing. You're both friends of them. They are the same age as each other. The letter explained that the bear was getting older. The devil is afraid to approach. You need them to come. In case something goes wrong. Before leaving, he even put charms on the front door and the back window. You said no matter what happens, don't take it down. And everyone has to stay absolutely in the house waiting for you. And the neighbors. Stay with some young people to help. The rest of you go home. Done. He put it all over the bag. With multiplication and progress. Follow your footsteps towards D. But her neighbor to dreams. As a child, he was often given a cake by his grandmother. Every time I go back to the market. How many times did you catch a fever? Fortunately, you can pick the medicine yourself. Then give you a drink. So you're like a real mother. About the progress. Her house is a little far from her house. 3 kilometers on the way to the market. For a long time you have been kind to me. She also knows about it, so she agrees. You often come to the playhouse. I saw my lover in trouble. You're more worried than anyone. Do you have a question about privacy? I don't know yet. You have to go there to know for sure. Hey, you two, take these to charms and put them around your neck. A little more. Did you hear or see anything? You can't even speak up. You're listening to the story on YouTube. Earth Radio. I hope you'll notice that all the works performed by Nguyen Huy. It is currently only available on the YouTube channel, Earth Radio. Every other platform is copyright infringement. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Land of Radio to hear the latest stories in full. Thank you. It's already more than 5 p.m. and the weather is beginning to calm down. The trees by the road moody tired after a scorching day. It's about 2 kilometers from Mrs. Therese' house to the Kier bamboo bush. Suddenly today is extraordinarily lonely and precarious. 3 men groped out to wear. The night also begins to take up space. A shining wheel, pushed by that AI into the sky. Tonight is the 16th. Standing in front of the evil bamboo, the color of his face dropped. Under the dim light, the 2 young men saw it, where the man with the tan skin Kier. They are bright eyes in the cold. It always gives people a sense of peace, and strangely cozy. Silent for a long time, he took out the small spells and a coin sword made of red thread. The sound of surprise and surprise. Although I have long heard he was a man in Shodok, I also know a little bit about spirituality, but I've never seen him except a fortune teller, or minus the devil ever. Afternoon. I saw 10 demons from inside of you. That's why everyone was surprised. I know that you also know how to use magic. I saw with my own eyes the use of the sword. It's made of coins. The 2 young men were shocked to believe that their kind, gentle uncle, he is a true shaman. He seemed to know the 2 boys were thinking. What are you serious about? You to stay focused and remember what I tell you. You hear or see something, you must always stand behind me. Don't be afraid to run away. What's wrong? I can't worry. The 2 young men finished listening, just pretending and nodding, without wanting to move anything. Now he's starting to make a vow in some language that the 2 young men never understood. After a while, he lit the charms and walked back and forth, and then launched them straight towards the bamboo dust. From where they stand to 5 feet away, and there are 2 small spells. It's spinning like a dart, and flies straight to the bamboo dust. The spell has just flown in. Suddenly the Buddha rose to a light as big as a basket. At the same time, the dust is still, suddenly shaking violently. But then the sound now starts to falter. But remember what he said. So try to stand still behind you. Then he raised his sword, runs straight towards the bamboo dust. It's like you're talking to that AI. Look at his face when he smiles gracefully, like trying to explain something. Sometimes I'm very angry, and at the same time, middle bamboo dust shaking up. It's like screaming ferociously. All of a sudden, his face turned pale and panicked. Come back quickly. It is not too late. Silly people and voices don't know anything. I saw him running in a hurry. You two are running wild too, carried with a sense of extreme fear. Why is that private? I'm wrong now. That bamboo bush isn't the only one. It's two devils. 3 men hurriedly glided over the D. The sky is also dark now. The moon is shining on high. At night the wind rustles on the trees, it whispers. Relentless murmuring. The frogs started to howl. Get ready for a feeding that's about to start. AI's house oil lights are singing again. From a very far distance, from the oil lamps of her house to dreams. In her house too. Or the real father of men and high. A real neighbor. Please stay to guard the dog. Sitting there. In the heart of AI is also low anxiety, waiting for silence from the private side. She had the dull red eyes looking at her youngest daughter. Lion limped in on a horse. Mama, cheeks up. If you can help me, there's no magic. She tried to take a long breath and reassure me. Are you sure it's okay? I have 8 rice for you now. He ate with the boy at noon, and there was nothing in his stomach. Let me do it. So let me help you with 2 quick hands. Free to enthusiastically follow up. You to go to work. You to just went into the kitchen. From outside the main door. Suddenly I heard the AI knock on the door. Along with the call. I'm coming, hi. He called out to hurry and lead it out to the bamboo dust. Because you're holding the demon back, and hurry up. When I heard that, I ran out and opened the door. Your hand just turned on the bolt. Suddenly you turned. I can't believe you heard such a call. But neither Mrs. 2 nor Mr. BA had any movement. They're still sitting there quietly. But it's late. The 2 men turned around and asked what was wrong. Then suddenly the door opened. a gust of wind hurtling into the house. I suddenly jerk people fall back inside. The door closed suddenly. Out there, the wind, the tree's canopy shaking. It's like that AI is struggling. Then the AI's voice boomed. There was also a very angry whisper. Dad saw that and rushed back to help. It's open now, too. With two real sounds, run up to see the situation. Get your mind fixed after the last fall. Tell me the story. I was sitting there when I heard a knock on the door. Then there's the voice of the forward. He told him to go away and lead her out into the bamboo. You've saved that death. It just opened the door. Then I remembered his words. Turn around and see you to sitting still. Your hips are moving. That's why I panicked. I thought I suddenly saw someone pushing me hard. Make me fall backwards. For a moment, the old people suddenly felt cold. They sort of figured out what's going on. Towards the altar. She lit her husband an incense stick and silently vowed, "Go back and protect your child." What fate does it have? I die. I can live. Then she went back to the horse. Take a towel to reduce sweat. The mother sighed anxiously. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door from the outside. This time, everyone heard it. You two are fine in there. I am fine. You too. That's the private voice. She ran back and looked through the door. She was delighted to see the private, but in sound, sweating and standing on the outside. No one answered that. If you have two sisters, let's see who answers me. At this point, she really believed that he was coming back. She turned to look at everyone nodding. She answered and opened the door. Yeah, I opened the door. You're fine out there. Three men breathed peacefully and walked in. He sat down in his chair and pulled the skirt of his sweatshirt. He said, "The bad people aren't okay." What is out there? Letter? He asked and gave three people a glass of water. He took a breath out and said, "At first I thought there was a demon out there. I can't believe there are two. When I came out, I saw one there. I tried to negotiate with him. but it's determined. You have to catch that kid. I heard that. She's got to thin feet, hands on the ground. Or hurry up and say, I can't save your brother, Uncle. Well, I'm not sure, but I was going to hit it with a spell. Let him be afraid and let him go. He laughed and said he could kill him. The youngest was also arrested. I heard that, I guess. There are 2 demons in that bamboo. So I found out it's right there. There's someone who has calmed down. The one that's there can't be moved anywhere. I panicked and ran back here. I'm not finished yet. Then suddenly he stood up. Go to the front door and look out for a moment. And walk back inside, carrying a sad face. Or ask with a trembling voice, what's going on, Private? She did not answer. She looked straight at her dreams. A long time later he said, Sister 2, calm down and listen to me. Let's make this one thing clear. No matter how much pain you have been through, it is hard to raise 3 grown children. She took a deep breath to calm down. You know you have to be tough right now to deal with these things with you. Private, just say it. Whatever happens, you don't have to hide it. So let me tell you, everyone knows the same thing. This morning when I took you across the street, look at your face at that time. Well, I guess it's a bad thing. But I have to wait for you to come back with me to know for sure what it is. I can't believe it's about 11 o'clock in the afternoon. The old man came looking for me. He told me to come and get you because that idiot is in trouble. He was talking and suddenly Chung came in. Uncle, are you messed up? He met me at 11 o'clock. He told me to save my youngest, because at that time I thought my wife was going to eat. So I remember very well that it's not wrong. His voice suddenly choked. He continued. There's no wrong AI. Sister 2. That son of yours. It's dead. The 2 dreamers were standing there still silent. But she sat down on the horse's forehead with her hands down, where a Kuang is lying. She didn't cry. Maybe because of a mother's instinct. Along with everything that's happened since morning. You felt the death of your son. He looked at her for a moment and then continued. That guy is drunk. It's wading through the canal. And the cramps drowned and died. It was over a week ago. His body was trapped under a tree. And it sprouted across the sutra. So no one could see it. Two demons out there in the bamboo. One of them is already covered by a teacher. No, get out of the area. A few days ago, when I was sitting there, at that time, it will be a blessing to have him. And the youngest is also high, so I can escape. It's wrong the other demon lured the youngest out to capture the soul. The boy is just a ghost. It didn't do those to evil spirits again. So he tried to hold on temporarily and save his brother's life. Then he showed up and met me with a real guy. Tell me to come out and save that little thing. The devil pretended to be a man. To get people to open the door. The boy is weak, so he can hear. Fortunately, he was able to throw the boy in. Then he stood at the door. Wait until I get back there. Everyone heard the story. I also shed tears for brotherly love. Grandma to heartbroken story of a channel. I have more bad news about my son. She's running out of her old life. The life of a mother who loves you. After a while, she tried to calm down. She forced herself to be strong, to find a way to save my daughter, as well as not supporting the protection of the soul. VA City, she asked in tears. So, where is he now? Private. It's in the sutra, about 1 kilometer from my house. Tomorrow, I'll go out and pick it up. It's dark now. I have to wait for you to get through the night. That's okay. Is there any way to save him? As for the youngest, now I have only one way to save my life. I want to get rid of that root. Then I have to go back to show Doc and get some things. Then you can do it. But don't worry, I'll do my best. The dreary night covers the poor land, where the gentlewoman's family loved the neighborhood. There's a mother lying there sighing, following my pulse. Water. The pillows under her eyes. Since when has it been wet? That night, next to the horse, he is lying in his sleep, self-interest and progress. When everyone leaves, but aunts still want to stay and take care of their loved ones. Tareel and grandmother went to the market early to prepare everything necessary. Pick up her body tomorrow. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. He looked out the front door with a serious expression. Worried voice asked, "Yeah, I see this. Why is it private? You have to go back to Chow Dock and get those things. Those things are treatable. The demons are haunting me more than my hips." "Yeah, I think so. Tomorrow, go with me up there." "I have something I need help with now." "Go alone, afraid of not being there." "I can tell you what time we're going." "And what about your body?" "Wait for you to come home." "Let me go pick up the body and then go." "You have to make it before dark." "Have to come back here. We'll be back by bike about 6 hours." "You have a bike that you have to ride." "If not, ask someone to borrow it for you." "Bicycles don't have an uncle." "Let's get your body out tomorrow." "Then I'll go home. I'll take the car. I'll drive you." "Oh, that's good." At that time, AI house with bicycle. It's a pretty good way to get one. They had to exchange hundreds of pounds of rice. Look at this forest area of about 50 square kilometers. They only have a few. An hour is one of them. He is a grandson in the family. My grandfather died when I was very young. I live with my mom and dad. I have an uncle named Tu. He also died in the war. Grandparents informed. Kier often goes to the province to buy and sell cloth. So buy a car for the convenience of going far. Recently due to his age. So leave the work to the future. Very hard and very gentle. So you're always happy about this boy. Because of the sound of the heart. The BA also knows. And it's fun not to object. So going back and forth helps your family. 20 also have the support of grandparents. At about 5 o'clock in the morning, the two women returned. Along with the young people in the neighborhood. It's real, and some people are carrying a box placed in front of the yard. Mrs. Tu is carrying a bag. Everything needed for the funeral. Put the basket down and she walked over to her daughter. just after one night. You look like you've aged for years. Puffy red eyes still wishing. Look at Mom. I really remember the days when he was 2. Your father was killed in the war. At that time, the 3 brothers were full. We can all see the pain and the sadness on his mother's face. 3 held hands and hugged her and comforted her. Make your heart hurt. It's also somewhat calmed. And now she's dead, and she's still lying there. I don't know yet. Get rid of the devil. Or wandering around. Or not. He was as heartbroken as his mother. For the death of his brother. No matter what, B.A. Than is still my younger brother. Sharing the same mother's milk. The pain of losing a loved one. Once again like a sharp knife piercing deep into my heart. Like the order when he heard that his father died. I remember that day when I was taking a nap in the house. I see Mr. Tutrum. His dad stood at the door looking at me. He immediately jumped up in surprise and joy. Bobby A just came back, B.A.? He asked as he ran out and hugged him. Like the last time he returned. He sobbed like a baby. And I kept asking him about what. You experienced it in the battle. In the war. Every task you were assigned. Those rare reunions. I kept wondering and asking him. Listen to the stories you tell. It's like a fairy tale. Let the 2 of you explain and laugh. And feel the warm and happy love. How many days away from home due to duty? Come closer to you 2. I vaguely sense that something is wrong. He doesn't come rushing towards you. He doesn't use his hands to rub his head. Don't pat me on the shoulder like last time. But just stood there looking at me with sad and regretful eyes. Daddy, Daddy, why don't you come in? Why are you standing there? Wife asked her husband, trying to walk quickly. With his hand. But absolutely cannot touch people. Even though he was still standing there before him. About one adult miscarriage. There was only some invisible force that held him back. Don't let him touch your BA. He looked for a long time and then looked inside the house. Where Mom and youngest sleep. Later, he turned back, looking towards the bamboo bed placed against the wall of the house, where she used to sleep, but still can't say a word. For a moment, he turned his back and walked outside. When I saw you going away, I panicked. Dad, where are you going? I'm going home. I'm not going home. I'm going home. He didn't answer or turn his back. His shadow keeps fading away. I tried to scream out loud, but it didn't work. Suddenly I woke up. The sweat filled my forehead. I realized it was just a dream. A dream that makes you panic and deeply insecure. I dare not sleep again, for fear of having a strange dream. He washed his face and went to work in the field. All that afternoon I kept thinking about that dream. But I can't tell anyone. And reassure yourself it's just a dream. Maybe because I miss my father so much. That's why I encountered it. Get the job done. When I got home, the sky was shining. 200 of them have come back. The guys back there, take a shower and eat. I like to cook now. Pickled fish soup with a vegetable. Come to the cafeteria. Let's heat it up. It's been so bad. Let me throw some water into the water. Who's going to eat all my guts? Tomorrow the duck will give birth. After that joke, we don't take our clothes out the back of the bathroom. Long time ago, you get a chance to eat your favorite foods again. Scratching in the stomach. Let the wolf rush to teach CA. Then quickly step inside. For a moment, I remembered my father. The whole family gathered at dinner, and she said, "Why did you suddenly?" I could see in his stomach that he's nervous. What's wrong with you two looking out there? It's nothing, Mom. Or do you see how well your hips are? Mom wants to get sick. I asked, placing my hand on her forehead. Then she stopped. Mom is not sick. I suddenly saw that he was worried. You must be old, so that's it. That guy B.A. You still have a sore throat. Little mommy take cooking medicine for drinking. You're in pain. Stop drinking. It's nothing, Mom. I'm out of medicine. I'm tired. Bitter cheeks want to die, I drink lead. Bitter medicine will quickly get rid of the disease. Don't worry, don't worry. I am not happy with the attitude of B.A., honestly. He is old enough to take care of himself. He said it all. And you're less likely to walk away from me. Lately she's laying it down. I'm afraid I can't do it. after the rice is done. It's very polite to save it for tomorrow morning. Feed the ducks. Get ready for bed. When I was drunk, I dreamt of two men. This time, he stood outside the door, but called out. Oh my God. VA is easy. Bye BA BA. Bah really, BA. When I got home at noon, I didn't go home, say something and leave. I cried so hard that my hips came back. I went to visit my mother, flew with my two brothers, and then I went. Oh, I've just come back and gone. It's tight up there, BA. The story up there. Nothing is just. Speaking of which, he was suddenly silent. After a while, he said, "You're an adult now. Try to help your mother. Take care of your dad and listen to me." I know, BA. Don't worry. Let me go in and ask my mother and two younger brothers to pick me up. I'm waiting for you. Really? All right. Bah has to go. Now people are waiting. I listen to you. Someone will come to my house tomorrow to give me something. There's a tiger in there with a letter. I try to keep my ears open. If you have a chance to use it later, see? Remember what you say to me, Dad. Oh wait, BA, BA, BA. Just like at noon, I woke up and realized I was dreaming. I'm really worried. In just one day, I've been dreaming about my father twice. It's weird every time. Lynn came to tell you that something bad has happened. But I'm trying to get that piece out of my head. Or rather, I can't even think about it. Early morning after meal to really prepared outfield feed the ducks. When we got to the door, there was a middle-aged man carrying a pack of soldiers on his shoulder. He saw his brother and asked, "Oh boy, let me ask you if this house is Mr. Nguyen Van Trung Hip You? I remember last night's dream. You're right. What's wrong with you? My father is my father. Yeah, I found the right house. He said he has a wife with 3 children. 2 boys and a little girl. This is you. The baby is second. My mother and I are behind the house. Take the fish and sell it in the market. He's been out since early. Please come in. Go back and tell your mother to wait for you. You call me Zircon. Comrade fights with comrade in arms. Please call your family. I have something to tell you. Invite me to drink some water so I can come back. I call you immediately. I said to hurry to the house. Your heart is as hot as a fire. I don't know what you're going to report, but you're definitely involved in the dream that you met. The two of them are catching fish. Put it in the basket. I've been nervous since yesterday. What she is most worried about is her husband. Because you're in the village of Arrows. I'd have heard from my husband's wife about the news. For a moment she let go of her hand and dropped the fish basket. And then the ocean runs in. It's also hard to follow. I dream of your wife. What's wrong with the letter? I remember before my wife. There's no such thing. It's not like that to a journalist. You calm down. I'm here today to tell my family. In the war last month, Comrade Nguyen Van Trum, he was sacrificed for completing the mission. Oh my God. The two-pill screamed. The name lightning struck her old heart. Right before my husband, she was psychologically prepared to accept the event. It can happen at any time. This cruel time of war. When a person walks out, there are a few people who can set a date to return. She didn't cry, but tears kept rolling down her thin cheeks. Bring the end of regret. And the pain seemed endless. He ran back and hugged her, sobbing endlessly. Or really go inside. They just hide the tears. For you. Your father is the one you always respect the most. Who will tell you? The wind lies in the dew. I'll clap my shoulders and laugh when I see you again. Zip is a tough guy. Years of work and fighting. For you between life and death. It no longer makes you afraid. I've seen so many people fall. How many times have you experienced 10 deaths? But now through this scene, you can't help but sob. He was choking. Tell us what happened in the battle that day. For the whole family. Comrade Trum, sacrificed to stay, to provide cover for a safe retreat. My father sacrificed his courage in battle. Despite his heartbreak, his words in a dream, still in my head. Too really brave to ask, where's your father's body now, Uncle? Joe did not answer immediately. He took out a ballot, a pot of silver, put it on the table and say, "This is the remains of Comrade Joe. The squad was cremated along with other comrades. All that's left in the backpack are his mementos. Now I give it back to my family. I hope the family has less pain. You have fulfilled your duty. It's the pride of the squad." After burying his remains to insects, the real open BA lot out. It's got some suits, some personal items. In the end corner of the BA lot, it's about a finger long. Take it out, just as you said. The tiger's fangs were pierced by a small string. It's like a chain. The goat's head also has a rope that cuts across for corners. It's like wrapping something inside. I don't know what it does, but you told me to keep it safe. Are in the cycle of recollection, to suddenly startled when he personally coaxed his brother. What does it look like? Do I think it's cool? You two are at home taking care of me. Let me take care of Cho's case. I saw her outside. She can't stand her hips. My mother has been crying since yesterday, Uncle. Or I'll leave you at home with my mother. I followed him to bring him back. Oh, I remember one thing. I don't know if that helps. Well, if there's anything, just say it. I have to go back to show Doc to recover the body. Let's worry about the youngest. So much has happened lately, so I didn't notice. Come out into the yard and I'll tell you something. I'm afraid it will bring more sadness to you. He really pulled his own hand out. Go to the yard, he said. Here's the thing, private. Let me tell you the story of the two. I finished listening and thought for a long time. He asked himself, where are the tigers? You can't take it out. Let me see. And you keep it very well. It is the legacy of your father. Let me come inside and wait for you. I just saw a tiger's fangs. His eyebrows were squinted. A moment later, he opened the cloth inside Ra. There's a stroke charm, a straight line curve. For a long time, he nodded and spoke. Well, this background is that of a tiger. It bit too many people. So inside the atmosphere accumulates. It's supposed to be a bad thing, bringing disaster to the AI that holds it, and the talisman that's on that string. I'm sure there's a master take. It's removing the scum on the fangs. And then he used this white charm. Turn it into an object that can cure evil. Well, that precious thing sounds good. Really, Uncle. Before now, I keep it according to my father's dream. I don't know what it is. 2. The meal that I sucked it was hard. I find it strange why the devil. It's in the house. But Sal does not directly capture its soul. You have to lead them out. Now I get it. It's this thing. I don't know what you to have. But that's for later. It's good to have this now. Put it on your neck. There is this. Then his death will not harm him for the time being. Stay in the house and watch it. Ask them to take a break. Because I need to show you the bamboo does tonight. Already said. The old man and the young men. Take the box with you. To do as you are told. Take the tiger's fangs and put them on your neck. Tell me what your father said to you. Oh, Mom. Mom, come inside and rest. Uncle already said that. I need you to go to the bamboo grove with me tonight. I thought, be well so that you can give it to me. At 3 o'clock, I didn't fall back. Whether you want it or not, I see 2 is too much. That's why she stood up. As soon as she got up, she suddenly wanted to fall. Thanks to very timely hand hold back. She was tired all day, plus the pain of losing my son. And worry about what happens to girls. That she was almost exhausted. I see you are worried. Mom, I've got my hip so you can take me in during the break. Yeah, it's not cool. Don't worry. Let me light the incense stick, let BA fly. So many of you go to the altar to make your vows. Then I brought my mother inside. She thought about half an hour. Then wake up. To glad to ask, you're awake. God, you're worrying me. You can see it in the sound now. I'm hungry for you. Thanks for cooking. I can't eat anything after hours. 2. I'm a little tired. You to give me some water, I don't want to eat. Where is Mom to? I'm tired. I brought my mom in for the break. Mom, take a break. Are you feeling any better? I said, give me a cup of water. I caught you too. Well, lie down a little longer. I asked Man to cook porridge for you so you can eat it. Then I pulled my hands together and said, crying, Tutu, BA is dead. I was surprised by my sister's words. I just learned that BA is dead. From yesterday afternoon, according to the private. From yesterday afternoon until now, he was possessed by the devil. I was in love until now. He just woke up and he knows. Yeah, I just found out. How do you know that? I can't help but cry the crows. Mrs. Two is thinking inside. She heard her daughter's cry and rushed outside. Are you awake? I've been fine since I heard you. I saw her cry even louder. Mom, BA is dead. I thought I told you the truth. I heard about the death of Ben. It hurts her to say. Oh, I know. I'm with the guy who's going to get his body back. You know how to avoid it. I woke up weak. Don't grieve too much and get sick. BA is absent. I'm only with 2 guys now. What's going on now? I can't live without you. How do you know that she died? Grandma to surprise. I thought I knew it was the stories. Now I hear you ask. She doesn't know how to do it either. Keep your eyes open and wait for the answer. She whispered back the story. From yesterday afternoon until now. I choked again. Now I know. That's when you get up. Then he shoved me into a hammock to stop me. But the soul is too strong. So he kept forcing me to follow him. Then the moment I found out it wasn't the men. Then you jump in the bucket. I was so scared. I don't know. Tell here. He looked like he was scared. You look panicked and too reassured. There is no why. Maybe your brother stopped it, so it's not harmful now. That guy called me to a view. Let him go to the market and ask his mother to come back. She said as she wiped her tears. Yesterday when I was being talked about, do you remember anything, Dad? I just dreamt that everyone was holding me tight. I'm trying to tell you to let me go, but no one heard it all. After a while, I didn't even know anything. Only last night I dreamed. I saw you standing outside the door I called you. You said you died drunk, and it was dark. So I slipped and fell down. That's when I sat thinking about that bamboo bush. That meal also saved me. I know that guy wants to hurt you. Because to save you, you have to show up in the middle of the day. So his soul is weak now. He asked me to tell you that I want you to be less sad. I want you to take care of me too. Sorry, Mom, because he made me sad when I was alive. You have to listen to everything you say, because only you can help. The air in the house is getting worse. When I finished hearing the story of When I live, I don't talk. It's time to die, and the city will regret it. But thanks to you. If not, she may have lost another child by now. By this time, the good man had also returned. Behind it is the ark that is carried forward and everyone carries it in, placed in front of the yard. Just saw. Mrs. 2 and I'm passed out. Because I can't hold my heart anymore. To real and he self-interest and ran back to help her. The neighbor saw that and ran into the guy who rubbed his forehead. Foot massager hand. After a while, they both woke up. Mrs. 2 rushed out to the coffin to encapsulate her son. You see, I am in a hurry to stop. Guys, calm down and listen to me. He's been dead for 8 days. He died less than 49 days ago. The oxygen accumulates a little bit. It's not all gone. So they can go back and visit their families. Thanks to that little bit of oxygen left over, that guy could show up during the day to save the youngest. Yeah, but it's too much. So his soul is weak now. You let me down. It's not good for his soul. The dead are usually their bodies. Meet your relatives, then 7 bleeding aphorisms out. The more you look, the more it hurts. That's what BA will do. But attached to relatives, there's no peace in leaving. Please tell everyone to bury it. Remember the words in BA's dream, and listen to your advice. Brunette to compression painting that follows. He's digging a hole in the back of the house. When the realtor brought last night's items prepared, it's finished somewhere. He made a vow and began to descend. The final burial was over 10 o'clock in the afternoon. He came into the house and told her to. It seems like a BA guy is fine now. After 49 days, if it's possible, I'll summon his soul. The most important thing right now is my son's job. There's your tiger fangs. Then the temporary fund round hasn't done anything yet. Where are you? And the thunderstorm outside the bamboo. That it's undercover. There's no way out of there. So you can rest assured, it's okay for people to stay in the house. I asked him to take me back to show Doc. Get some stuff up here. Tomorrow we will get to the root of this. Remember what I told you not to go anywhere. Stay in the house waiting for me to hear you. I remember you, Private. You walk carefully. Really, without you? My family doesn't know why. I thank you very much. Oh, nothing. My husband is late for listening. He was self-interested and was now halfway there. No one said anything to anyone. The voice is very worried. I just want to go back quickly. So along the way you just focus on pedaling. And the self-interest is wandering in the memory. The painful memory you tried to forget. Over 15 years ago. It keeps coming back. It's like something just happened. And that's the end of today's story. What do you think about the strange events we've just heard? Could it all be just our imagination, or is there something truly unexplainable happening? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming eerie tales. And if you have any ghostly experiences you'd like to share, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Be careful in the dark. You never know who's waiting for you. Double quotes.